You want to do some animation? I mean some articulation? I mean some. Man, you want to have your faders and stuff moving all by themselves? It's called automation, fool! What up, YouTube? Yeah, it's called automation. Automation, okay? I spell it right in the description. You worry about that. You worry about how to say it and quit calling it animation. All right, how about that? Now, let's talk about automation. Automation is basically the process to where you record changes in your mix and have your DAW play them back in real time. So this could be changes like a fader movement, changing the volume of a section of a vocal or a guitar solo, whatever. You can automate any fader, right? It could also be a pan. Maybe you have some element of your mix moving from left to right. It could be any element inside of a plugin. Any parameter inside of a plugin can be automated. It could be a send level. Maybe you got a delay throw, automating to where the delay happens only on certain words in your session, right? All of that automation helps the session to come to life. Pro Tools makes automation really easy and very flexible. So let's just go ahead, jump into it, check out the automation modes, check out how we can use, record, and edit our automation, all right? So, boop, let's get right to the session. As you see, I was already checking out one of the automation lanes in this session on this actual lead track here. Now, you can change your automation lanes only in the edit window by using the track view selector. Now, that's that little selector right up under the track solo and mute buttons. So I'm just going to use this for now to change it back to waveform, which is the default setting that you'll probably be used to seeing it when you start your Pro Tools session. The automation mode selector is right up under the track view selector. Here's the automation mode selector in the edit window, and right now it is set to read. Read is the default automation mode. Let's go over to my mix window by hitting Command equal, and you can see that you can also set your automation mode from here as well. And if I open up a send window, like a send to my delay, you see that the same automation mode selector is there as well, and it all corresponds with the track. So if I change that track, you see it changes the entire track no matter what. Even here in the edit window, they're all the same. All right, so now let's talk about a little bit about these automation modes while we're here. Read mode. Read mode is the default automation mode. In read mode, no new automation can be recorded. It will only play back the automation that is already existing, okay? So with read mode, you don't have to risk recording over anything that's already there. It'll only play back or read the existing automation. Now, before we get into recording automation, let's check out our automation window. You can do this by hitting Command numeric 4 or by going to the window menu, since it's a window, and choosing automation. Here's this little tiny automation window, but it is very important when it comes to using automation in Pro Tools. At the top of the automation window is a global suspend button. If you click this button, this will globally suspend the reading and writing of all automation in your session, okay? On every single track, you can't read any automation and you cannot make any new automation if all automation is suspended. Down at the bottom section, the right enable section determines which parameters you can actually record automation to. What can I write automation to? And in this case, plugins, volume, pan, mute, send volume, send pan, and send mute are all enabled. And I like to leave them all enabled, and I'll tell you why. As long as I'm not using write mode, I can leave all of these turned on. In write mode is an automation mode, and it is the most dangerous automation mode. If I'm in write mode for my automation, as soon as I hit play, Pro Tools will record automation for every parameter that is enabled here, whether I make any changes or not, and that can be very frustrating. Okay, an example of that, let's just say I hit play right now, and I don't make any changes, automation was still recorded during that pass for my plugins, my volume, my pan, my send volume, my send pan, and my send mute. So if I change this back to read mode, you see my volume fader right now is on 0. If I try to change this as I'm playing, you see how the fader keeps on snapping back because it's reading the automation that has already been recorded and is read it at Unity Gain. It's recorded at Unity Gain, and so it's not going to allow me to make changes very easily without recording new automation or deleting that automation data. So I'm sure some of y'all have been in this position to where you like moving a fader or something and it keeps popping back. That's because there is some automation recorded on that channel that maybe you don't want. So let me just hit Command Z to get rid of that automation and double check that there is no automation anywhere. Okay, cool. So I don't use write mode. Again, write mode is a automation mode that will immediately start recording automation as soon as you hit play. My favorite automation modes are touch and latch. Now, I like these automation modes because no automation is actually recorded until you actually touch and modify a parameter. Now, let's say I want to automate the quarter note delay on this vocal here, and just using the send level, I'm going to do that, but I don't want to record the automation during the entire time that it playback. Only while I turn the fader up, start recording. Once I stop touching it, it will stop recording. That's touch mode. Okay, if you have touch sensitive control surface, then they will know whenever you got your finger on it or something like that, then it will start to record that automation and make those changes for you. As soon as you release the parameter, Pro Tools basically goes back to read mode, and it does not record any automation during that time as long as you're not changing anything. So touch mode is really great for updating existing automation or just making new automation to certain sections and leaving everything else alone. So here we go. I'm going to go through this hook, and I'm just going to raise up some of this quarter note delay. Let's see how it sounds. Maybe it sounds good on the first time, maybe not. I really haven't tried this before. I'm just jumping in with y'all on this video. So here we go. Actually, let me play this without anything so we can hear it first.
Good love comes once in a lifetime, and you got that thing that makes me lose my mind. I don't wanna risk it all. I'm scared to fall. Will you catch me if I give it all, give it all?
All right, so you get an idea of that hook there. All I have on there is a little bit of reverb and like a little eighth note delay, right? But this is going to add a little quarter note delay, add a little bit more width and dimension to this mix. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this as I am adding that delay only on certain parts like the ends of the phrasings and stuff like that. So I can actually get rid of this window now, don't need that. And here we go.
That makes me lose my mind. I don't wanna risk it all. I'm scared to fall. Will you catch me if I give it all, give it all?
All right, see, that was okay for a first pass. And if we actually go over to my track view selector again, I can now see that send A, my delay, has automation on the level. That's what it's indicating by being yellow here, is that there has been automation recorded onto that parameter. And so if I change over to send A's level, I can actually see that automation data. All right, and if we play this back,
good love comes once in a lifetime, and you got that thing that makes me lose my mind.
Right, so you can see that automation now. I could come in here and actually modify stuff. So let's say on this first little section, I felt like the automation was a little bit loud. I raised it up a little too much. I can go in, make a selection over that group of automation breakpoints and bring it down, right? So that's one way to modify that automation. You can also just come in and delete a whole section. Maybe I didn't want anything happening there. Let's just turn that down. You see, I can also come above here, and I'm using the smart tool. And I always use a smart tool, so that should be out the question, right? And make an adjustment to maybe this whole section here. I can grab individual breakpoints. Maybe I don't want any of that delay turned on right there, so I can turn that whole section down.
Good love comes once in a lifetime, and you got that thing that makes me lose my mind. I don't wanna risk it all.
You can also feel free to go up and grab your pencil tool, and you can draw and modify automation data with this pencil tool. That's very helpful as well. Let's say if I needed to make some small changes or tweaks, the pencil tool is great for doing that. Okay. And if you don't like the automation at all, you can always just make a selection over those breakpoints and hit delete. You can even get in here on your automation graph and create automation brand new from the scratch, right? So I could just come up here and make a selection over this point and maybe raise that automation line up. Again, using the smart tool, if you saw how I was positioned there, I just made a selection, and then a little bit above there, it turns into this little sideways trim tool where I can just choose to trim that automation like that.
Good love comes once.
Right? Now, of course, that's not giving me the most natural feeling, but that does work great on other automation playlists, like, for example, mute, right? If I wanted to mute this particular line, for example, I could just make a selection of it, and with mute, it's either all on or all off. So if the automation line is at the top, that means it's unmuted. If I bring this down, that means that part is now muted.
Good love once in a lifetime.
And that is a mute automation. And really the possibilities are endless. Again, you can automate everything from volume, pan, mute, send volume, send pan, send mute, in every parameter inside of a plugin. So let me actually go ahead, and I'm gonna lay some of this quarter note delay back down. I'm just gonna change to the different view so that we can see that here. And let's just do this.
Good love comes once in a lifetime, and you got that thing that makes me lose my mind. I don't wanna risk it all. I'm scared to fall. Will you catch me if I give it all? Give it all. If I give it all, if I give it all.
All right, cool. Now, I want to show y'all plugin automation real quick. Now, for this certain section here at the end, I'm feeling like I want a longer feedback on that delay. Listen to it.
If I give it all, give it all. If I give
I feel like it might be cool if that feedback was just a little bit longer, only on that section. So let's automate that feedback for that plugin. Here's my delay track right here. I'm just going to open up my H delay. And here's my feedback parameter, right? And then if I hold down these three modifier keys, Control, Option, and Command. Now, if you are on a PC, it's going to be the Windows key, the Control key, and the Alt key. So you hold down those three keys, Control, Option, Command, or Windows, Alt, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. What did I say they was? So Control, Option, Command, or Control, Alt, Windows, okay? Yeah, so you hold down all three of those, and you simply just click on any parameter inside of your plugin, and then hit Enable Automation. So I'm gonna enable automation for my feedback. You could also just go up here to this automation window inside the plugin, and it'll open up this whole list of parameters that are eligible for automation. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just click on it and enable it there. And then I also need to enable the track. So since this plugin is on this track, my delay track, I'm going to set this to touch automation mode as well. And there's never a need to record enable a track or record your session while you are recording automation, while you're writing automation. All you have to do is play back your session. So I'm gonna play back the session. When we get to the certain part, I will increase the feedback and Pro Tools will record that.
If I give it all,
back up a little bit.
I'm scared to fall. Will you catch me if I give it all, give it all? If I give it all, if I give it all.
Right, and just that easy. Actually, I want to let that fall back down a little more naturally. So let's do that one more time.
I'm scared to fall. Will you catch me if I give it all, give it all? If I give it all, if I give it all.
Beautiful. And so let's play that back.
I'm scared to fall. Will you catch me if I give it all, give it all? If I give it all, if I give it all.
All right, and just that easy, I have just recorded that automation. Now, whenever you're done writing your automation, just make sure that you set your track back to read mode. So that is a look at how I like to use automation in Pro Tools. It's pretty dope, right? If you need professional mixing services, make sure you hit up Wayne.com, or you can also find some really dope templates just like the one I used to record this session. And it'll make your sessions a whole lot easier too, man. If you like to use automation, don't forget to leave a comment below. Let us know what you have been automating lately. Leave me a thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to be dope.